If you are seeing this, something strange is about to happen to your quantum field. You did not arrive here randomly, you aligned here. And alignment is never neutral. It is movement, it is selection. It is the moment consciousness becomes aware of itself choosing. Reality does not respond to your words. It responds to your state. It mirrors your inner configuration with precise, unwavering accuracy. And the fact that this message has entered your awareness is evidence that your inner state has already shifted enough to perceive it. Something has been reorganizing beneath the surface. You may have felt it as restlessness, as subtle anticipation, as a quiet sense that the familiar structures of your life no longer fit the way they once did. That sensation is not confusion. It is calibration. Your quantum field is not outside of you. It is not a distant grid you attempt to influence. It is the extension of your own consciousness. It rearranges as you rearrange. It stabilizes as you stabilize. And right now, it is preparing to respond to a new signal. This is the moment you were meant to see this, because you are no longer broadcasting the same frequency you were weeks ago, days ago, even hours ago. The shift may be subtle, but the field recognizes subtlety. The field responds to coherence, not volume. Recognition is the trigger. The instant you recognize that something is shifting, you are no longer asleep within the pattern. You are aware within it. That awareness changes everything. Awareness collapses delay. Awareness accelerates alignment. You are not a small person hoping the universe listens. You are consciousness itself, tuning its own extension. The field does not judge. It does not hesitate. It reflects. And something within you has reached a threshold. This is not about forcing outcomes. Not about trying harder. Not about controlling circumstances. Control creates resistance. Resistance fractures the signal. But what is happening now is different. It is quieter than force. It is steadier than effort. It is readiness. Readiness does not shout. It settles. It becomes certain without needing proof. It allows instead of grasps. And when readiness stabilizes, the field begins its rearrangement. You may soon notice subtle disruptions. Unexpected openings. Conversations that feel orchestrated. Old structures loosening. This is not chaos. It is coherence recalibrating your visible world to match your invisible state. Creation happens only in the present moment. And in this present moment, you are different. That difference is enough. You do not need to know what is about to happen. You only need to recognize that it is already in motion. The mirror has received the new instruction. The current has adjusted. If you are aligned with this frequency, subscribe and remain within it. The strange sensation you feel is not random. It is not imagination. It is response. Your quantum field is responding. Not to your affirmations. Not to your surface-level intentions. It is responding to your emotional coherence. Emotion is frequency. Frequency is instruction. And instruction is what the field obeys without exception. This is the law. You do not command reality with words. You inform it with state. The field mirrors what you are being, not what you are saying. When your emotional baseline shifts, even subtly, the entire structure around you begins adjusting to match it. That adjustment often feels unfamiliar. When coherence increases, the old configuration can no longer remain stable. You might feel anticipation without cause. A quiet tension. A sense that something is reorganizing beyond your sight. That is not uncertainty. That is resonance recalibrating the visible world to reflect a new internal order. The field moves before the evidence appears. Physical reality is the echo. Emotion is the signal. When the signal changes, the echo must follow. But there is always a delay between broadcast and reflection. In that space, you feel the strangeness. You sense the rearrangement before you see it. This is where most people doubt. They look for proof too early. They attempt to force confirmation. And in doing so, they introduce resistance. But you are beginning to recognize something deeper. You are noticing that when you stabilize into calm certainty, circumstances subtly align. When you soften control, interactions feel less strained. When you release urgency, opportunities surface without struggle. These are not coincidences. They are micro-adjustments within your field. The quantum field does not need effort. It needs clarity. Clarity is emotional coherence without contradiction. When your thoughts and feelings harmonize instead of conflict, the signal strengthens. And a strong signal reorganizes matter. Not by pushing. By attracting. If your emotional state carries expansion, openness, and quiet expectation, the field reflects expansion, openness, and opportunity. If it carries contraction, fear, and control, the reflection tightens accordingly. Expansion is alignment. Contraction is guidance that something is misaligned. This is not punishment. It is feedback. Right now, something within you has moved toward expansion. That movement is subtle but powerful. And because of that, your field has begun its response. It is shifting conversations, timing, impulses, and pathways in ways too intricate for the logical mind to track. You do not need to manage it. You only need to remain coherent. The strange feeling is not warning. It is confirmation. It is the sensation of a new frequency stabilizing. The moment you stop trying to manipulate outcomes and instead observe your emotional state, you step into true influence. Influence without force. Like the video now as a confirmation that this recognition has landed. That action is not about approval. It is a declaration. A stabilization. A conscious acknowledgement that you understand the field is already moving. And once understood, it accelerates. Because awareness amplifies signal. And your signal is no longer the same. Disruption is not the opposite of expansion. It is the doorway to it. When your frequency begins to rise, the structures built around your previous identity can no longer remain stable. What once felt solid begins to loosen. What once felt certain begins to feel temporary. This is not loss. It is recalibration. Expansion requires space. And space is created when outdated patterns begin to dissolve. You may notice internal restlessness. A sense that you cannot return to the comfort of old perspectives. Conversations may feel different. Goals may feel incomplete. Even your own reactions may surprise you. This instability is not regression. It is refinement. Contraction and expansion are guidance signals. When you feel contraction, tightness, or resistance, it is not punishment. It is information. It reveals where your current thoughts or actions are misaligned with your evolving identity. Contraction is feedback from the field indicating distortion in the signal. Expansion feels different. Expansion feels open. Calm. Certain without force. It carries a quiet sense of inevitability. When you experience expansion, you are coherent. Your emotional state matches the frequency of the reality you are selecting. Both signals are valuable. But disruption occurs when you attempt to hold expansion while still gripping contraction. When part of you is ready for a new frequency and another part clings to the familiar, friction appears. That friction feels like instability. This is the phase many misinterpret. They assume something is wrong because life feels unsettled. They attempt to restore the old stability. They try to control the external world to calm the internal shift. But control strengthens contraction. And contraction delays alignment. The instability you feel is the old structure losing energetic support. You are not meant to fix it. You are meant to outgrow it. Contrast sharpens clarity. When something no longer resonates, you feel it more intensely. That intensity is not there to discourage you. It is there to refine your signal. It reveals what you no longer are. Expansion always follows this refinement. A seed does not become a tree without breaking its shell. The shell experiences that breaking as disruption. But the tree experiences it as liberation. You are in the cracking phase. And cracking feels uncertain before it feels powerful. Do not interpret restlessness as failure. Interpret it as movement. Your quantum field is adjusting to match a broader version of you. That adjustment requires releasing density. Density leaves through discomfort. Through awareness. Through contrast. And the moment you stop resisting the discomfort, it transforms into clarity. Expansion is not loud. It is stable. It is the calm that arrives after you stop arguing with what is dissolving. It is the quiet knowing that something larger is organizing itself through you. You are not losing ground. You are gaining coherence. Comment with the words, "I am ready," to anchor this timeline. There is a structure beneath what you are experiencing. What feels mysterious has mechanics. What feels spiritual has precision. In this phase, you begin to understand the energetic laws governing the shift. One of those laws is emotional magnetism. Emotion is not decoration. It is not a reaction to reality. It is a magnetic charge within the field. Every emotion carries polarity, intensity, and coherence. And the quantum field responds to that charge with exact correspondence. Not to force. Not to effort. To coherence. When your emotional state is fragmented, when desire and doubt coexist with equal intensity, the magnetic signal weakens. The field reflects confusion with delay. But when your emotional state becomes unified, when your thoughts and feelings move in the same direction, the signal strengthens. Magnetism increases with harmony. The field is not something you push against. It is not an external substance waiting to be persuaded. It is a mirror that organizes around the dominant emotional frequency you sustain. If that frequency is steady, the reflection becomes clear. If that frequency fluctuates wildly, the reflection becomes unstable. This is why forcing fails. Force implies resistance. Resistance introduces tension. Tension fractures emotional coherence. And a fractured signal cannot produce a clean reflection. The harder you push, the more contradiction you introduce. The more contradiction you introduce, the more distorted the mirror becomes. Magnetism does not require strain. Consider how a magnet functions. It does not chase. It does not argue. It does not attempt to convince metal to move. Its internal alignment creates an invisible field of attraction. That alignment is enough. Your emotional state functions the same way. When you stabilize into calm certainty, when you release urgency and settle into expectation without desperation, your magnetic field strengthens. Calm is not passive. Calm is organized energy. It is power without noise. This is why allowing becomes stronger than controlling. Allowing removes resistance. When resistance dissolves, coherence increases. When coherence increases, magnetism amplifies. The field reorganizes accordingly. You may not see the rearrangement immediately. But beneath the surface, probabilities shift. Pathways adjust. Interactions subtly reposition. The mirror begins to match the internal structure you have stabilized. Expansion feels effortless because it is magnetized rather than forced. If you feel strain, the signal is mixed. If you feel quiet steadiness, the signal is clean. The body often reveals this before the mind understands it. Relaxation indicates alignment. Tightness indicates distortion. This is not about becoming emotionally intense. It is about becoming emotionally coherent. One sustained, clear frequency outweighs bursts of unstable desire. One moment of grounded certainty carries more magnetic influence than hours of anxious effort. The field responds to what you consistently are. And as you refine your emotional alignment, you are not begging reality to change. You are reorganizing the mirror from within. This is the law. And it does not fail. Control feels powerful on the surface. It gives the illusion of direction. It creates the sensation of doing something. But beneath that surface, control often collapses the current you are trying to strengthen. The quantum field responds to coherence, not compulsion. When you attempt to force an outcome, you are broadcasting two signals at once. One signal says, "This is mine." The other says, "I do not trust that it is coming." That contradiction fractures the field. It weakens the magnetic alignment you have been building. Control is rooted in fear of absence. It assumes that without pressure, nothing will move. It assumes that without monitoring every detail, the desired result will slip away. That assumption carries contraction. And contraction distorts the signal. The current of alignment flows naturally when there is emotional steadiness. But control introduces turbulence. It is like gripping water in your hands. The tighter you hold it, the more it escapes through your fingers. Forcing outcomes creates resistance because it declares that the present moment is insufficient. And creation only happens in the present. When you mentally reject the now, you disconnect from the only point of power available to you. This is why effort can sometimes slow progress. Effort layered with tension communicates doubt. It says, "I must push because it is not already forming." The field reflects that doubt with delay. Not as punishment. As precision. Control also narrows perception. When you fixate on one specific path, you filter out alternative alignments that may carry greater coherence. You attempt to dictate how the reflection should appear instead of stabilizing the frequency that naturally produces it. Forcing is rigid. Alignment is fluid. When you force, your body tightens. Your breath shortens. Your thoughts accelerate. The signal becomes chaotic. And chaos cannot organize reality clearly. It scatters potential instead of focusing it. Allowing, by contrast, does not mean inaction. It means internal steadiness. It means choosing the desired frequency without demanding immediate proof. It means acting from clarity rather than reacting from urgency. Control says, "I will make it happen." Alignment says, "I will remain coherent and let it arrange." There is a difference. One strains the current. The other strengthens it. When you feel the impulse to overcorrect, to monitor excessively, to mentally rehearse outcomes with tension, pause. That pause is power. It interrupts the contradiction. It restores coherence. You do not collapse timelines by relaxing. You collapse them by doubting your own alignment. Control fractures coherence because it divides your energy between desire and fear. The field cannot respond cleanly to a divided signal. It mirrors the division. But when the signal becomes singular, when desire is no longer entangled with anxiety, the current stabilizes. The flow returns. This is not about abandoning intention. It is about releasing the strain wrapped around it. Because the current of your quantum field is already moving. And it does not require force to continue. Allowing is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is not stepping back and hoping something changes. Allowing is alignment in its purest form. When you allow, you stop arguing with the present moment. And the present moment is the only place creation occurs. This is the activation code. The field does not respond to future promises. It does not respond to past regret. It responds to the emotional signature you hold now. If your now is tense, impatient, and resistant, the reflection carries that tension. If your now is steady, open, and receptive, the reflection organizes around that steadiness. Allowing stabilizes the now. Calm receptivity is not doing nothing. It is choosing to remain coherent without demanding immediate validation. It is acting when inspired, resting when guided, and refusing to contaminate your signal with urgency. Urgency says it is not here yet. Allowing says it is already forming. That distinction changes the entire current. When you allow, your nervous system relaxes. Your breathing deepens. Your perception widens. You become sensitive to intuitive impulses that were previously drowned out by control. The field communicates through subtlety, not force. And only a calm system can perceive subtlety. This is why allowing activates flow. Flow is not something you chase. It emerges when resistance dissolves. Resistance is the friction between what is and what you think should be. When that friction fades, energy moves cleanly. Opportunities appear natural. Conversations unfold effortlessly. Timing feels synchronized. You did not push the river. You stopped blocking it. Creation happens only in this present breath. Not in mental rehearsal. Not in anxious anticipation. Only here. And when you fully occupy here without mental opposition, you align with the current that is already moving. Allowing does not mean you abandon desire. It means you remove fear from it. Desire without fear is powerful. Desire without urgency is magnetic. Desire grounded in present certainty becomes inevitable. You are not waiting for reality to catch up. Reality is waiting for you to stabilize. The strange sensation that something is shifting becomes calmer when you allow it. Instead of bracing for impact, you soften into trust. Instead of scanning for proof, you embody expectation. And embodiment is stronger than observation. Allowing says, I trust the coherence I have established. That trust amplifies the signal. This is not surrender as defeat. It is surrender as synchronization. You align with the movement already underway rather than attempting to redirect it from a place of doubt. The field responds immediately to this shift. Not always visibly. But structurally. Internally. Energetically. And when your internal state stops resisting the present moment, the activation completes itself. Because flow was never absent. It was waiting for you to allow it. There is a deeper layer to what is happening now. It is not just about alignment. It is about selection. You are not changing reality. You are selecting it. What you call reality is not a single fixed structure. It is a field of possibilities existing simultaneously, like countless currents flowing at once. Each current represents a version of events, a configuration of circumstances, a pathway already formed within the larger field. You are not building one from nothing. You are tuning into one that matches your vibration. This changes everything. When you believe you must create from scratch, you strain. You attempt to construct outcomes piece by piece. You analyze. You calculate. You force. But if multiple realities already exist as potential patterns, then your role is not construction. It is calibration. Your emotional frequency is the tuning mechanism. When your internal state stabilizes into coherence, you resonate with a specific version of reality that reflects that coherence. Just as a radio locks onto a station by matching frequency, you lock onto a timeline by matching vibration. There is no delay in availability. Only delay in alignment. If your emotional state carries doubt, you resonate with realities that mirror uncertainty. If it carries quiet certainty, you resonate with realities that mirror confirmation. The selection happens automatically. Effort is not required. Consistency is. You are not persuading the universe to rearrange itself. You are shifting your position within a spectrum that already contains every arrangement. The strange sensation you have been feeling is the awareness of this shift. It is the subtle recognition that the version of reality you are resonating with is no longer the same as before. Old outcomes begin to feel improbable. New possibilities feel closer, even before evidence appears. This is selection in motion. Manifestation, then, is not about forcing an external world to obey you. It is about refining your internal frequency until it naturally aligns with the version of events you prefer. You do not drag that version toward you. You become it. And when you become it, you perceive it. Perception itself reorganizes. You notice different opportunities. You respond differently to challenges. You feel drawn toward new impulses. These shifts are not random inspiration. They are indicators that your signal has changed, and the corresponding reality is coming into view. Selection is subtle. It happens in the present moment, through emotional coherence. Every breath is a point of calibration. Every reaction either strengthens alignment with one timeline or reinforces attachment to another. There is no punishment. No reward. Only resonance. When you release control and stabilize into allowing, you simplify the signal. A simplified signal locks onto a clearer reality. A scattered signal drifts. You are not trapped in a single unfolding story. You are consciousness navigating among infinite variations of experience. And the one you experience next will not be chosen by force. It will be chosen by who you are being now. Identity is the portal through which reality becomes visible. You do not experience every possible timeline available to you. You experience the ones your identity permits. Identity is not your name, your history, or your roles. Identity is the internal assumption of who you are being at the deepest level. And that assumption filters reality. If you identify as someone who struggles, you will resonate with versions of reality that confirm struggle. If you identify as someone expanding, you will resonate with versions that confirm growth. The field does not argue with identity. It organizes around it. This is why identity precedes evidence. Most attempt to change circumstances first and identity second. They wait for proof before allowing themselves to feel transformed. But timelines do not respond to proof. They respond to being. When identity shifts, access shifts. Recognition is the catalyst. The moment you recognize that you are not confined to an old version of yourself, that you are not obligated to continue embodying outdated patterns, identity loosens. It becomes fluid. And in that fluidity, a new assumption stabilizes. This shift can happen instantly. It does not require years of effort. It requires clarity. When you see clearly that you are consciousness selecting experience rather than a fixed character trapped in one, identity recalibrates. And when identity recalibrates, the portal opens to different timelines. The strange sensation you have been feeling is this recalibration in motion. Old density begins to shed. Density is attachment to a former self-image. It is the weight of repeating narratives. It is the emotional charge tied to stories that once defined you. As identity evolves, those stories lose relevance. They no longer feel solid. They feel distant. That distance can feel disorienting. You may wonder why certain goals no longer excite you the same way. Why certain conflicts no longer trigger you with the same intensity. Why your reactions feel softer, slower, more intentional. This is not apathy. It is elevation. The old identity is dissolving. Not through force. Not through denial. Through recognition. When you stop reinforcing an outdated self-concept, it cannot sustain itself. It fades because it is no longer energized. And as it fades, a lighter identity stabilizes in its place. That lighter identity resonates with different realities. This is not about pretending to be someone else. It is about acknowledging who you already are becoming. Identity is not something you fabricate. It is something you allow to surface when you stop clinging to what you were. And once the portal shifts, the accessible timelines shift with it. You do not drag a new reality into an old identity. You step into a new identity and perceive a new reality. The strange feeling is not instability. It is transition. It is the sensation of standing between who you were and who you are recognizing yourself to be. And once recognition completes, the portal remains open. Because identity, once expanded, does not return to confinement. It continues forward. And so do the realities you now have access to. Nothing you experienced was wasted. Every moment of frustration, every delay, every outcome that did not unfold the way you expected was not a detour. It was calibration. Contrast was not opposing you. It was refining you. Desire becomes clear through contrast. You do not know what expansion feels like until you feel contraction. You do not recognize alignment until you experience misalignment. Contrast sharpens perception. It exposes what no longer resonates. It intensifies clarity about what does. This is preparation. When something felt heavy, it revealed the weight you were no longer meant to carry. When something disappointed you, it clarified what truly matters. When something ended, it exposed attachments that had quietly defined your identity. Contrast carved precision into your signal. Without it, desire would remain vague. Vague signals produce vague reflections. But contrast forces definition. It compels you to choose. It pushes you to decide what aligns and what does not. That decision strengthens coherence. Many misinterpret contrast as evidence that they are off path. But contrast is how the path becomes visible. When you encounter what feels wrong, you sharpen your understanding of what feels right. When you feel contraction, you become sensitive to expansion. Contrast teaches discernment. It refines emotional awareness. It heightens your sensitivity to subtle shifts in your state. You begin to notice when something drains you. You begin to notice when something energizes you. This awareness is not accidental. It is the training ground for alignment. Without contrast, expansion would feel accidental. With contrast, expansion feels chosen. Every challenge asked you a silent question: who are you now? Each time you responded differently than you once would have, identity shifted. Each time you refused to remain in old reactions, coherence strengthened. Contrast revealed where your frequency was fragmented. And by revealing fragmentation, it gave you the opportunity to unify. Nothing forced you to grow. Contrast simply made stagnation uncomfortable. It nudged you toward refinement. It amplified the difference between who you were and who you were becoming. That amplification is preparation. The strange sense of readiness you feel now did not appear suddenly. It was built through every moment that stretched you beyond comfort. Through every instance that demanded greater clarity. Through every situation that required you to release a former version of yourself. Contrast sculpted your current stability. It sharpened your desire until it became undeniable. It clarified your direction until it felt natural. It strengthened your alignment until it began to feel inevitable. This is why expansion often follows periods of intensity. Intensity refines. And refinement prepares the field for a more coherent selection. You were not being tested. You were being tuned. Every contraction taught you what expansion truly means. Every limitation revealed where freedom mattered most. Every obstacle strengthened the clarity of your signal. Contrast was never the enemy. It was the architect of your readiness. And now that readiness carries weight. Not heavy weight. Gravitational weight. The kind that draws aligned reality toward you without strain. Because you no longer desire blindly. You desire with precision. And precision changes everything. There is a phase that arrives after identity shifts but before visible reality reorganizes. It feels like suspension. Like standing between two versions of yourself with no clear ground beneath your feet. This is not regression. It is transition. This is the void before reconfiguration. When an old identity dissolves and a new one stabilizes, there is a moment where neither fully defines you. The past no longer feels accurate. The future has not yet taken form. In this space, neutrality expands. Neutrality can feel unfamiliar. You may notice that desires once charged with intensity now feel quiet. Reactions that once flared now soften. Situations that would have triggered urgency now seem distant. This is not disinterest. It is energetic recalibration. The field is reorganizing around a new internal structure. When density sheds, there is less emotional noise. When noise decreases, silence increases. And silence can feel empty if you are accustomed to constant stimulation. But this emptiness is not absence. It is openness. The void is fertile. It is the pause between exhale and inhale. The stillness before movement resumes in a new direction. In this suspension, the field is not inactive. It is precise. It is adjusting probabilities, dissolving outdated attachments, and stabilizing new coherence without spectacle. Feeling untethered is part of this recalibration. You may feel less compelled to chase outcomes. Less reactive to external fluctuations. Even your ambitions may feel quieter, more grounded. This is not loss of drive. It is refinement of intention. When identity shifts, motivation changes texture. Instead of pushing forward from lack, you begin moving from completeness. But before that movement becomes visible, there is a moment of stillness where the old momentum has stopped and the new momentum has not yet accelerated. Many interpret this stillness as stagnation. It is not stagnation. It is integration. The nervous system adjusts to a new baseline. The emotional body stabilizes at a higher coherence. The mind recalibrates expectations. All of this occurs beneath the surface of physical evidence. The void strips away urgency. Without urgency, you confront presence. Without distraction, you encounter awareness. And awareness without attachment can feel spacious to the point of unfamiliarity. But spaciousness is power. In this space, you are not grasping. You are not resisting. You are simply being. And being is the most potent state of alignment. Creation happens in the present moment, and the void anchors you fully into it. There is no need to rush this phase. Reconfiguration requires precision. The field cannot stabilize a new reflection while you cling to remnants of the old one. The neutrality you feel ensures clean transition. It prevents overlap. It clears distortion. You are not lost. You are between configurations. And between configurations, silence feels louder than noise. Trust this silence. It is not empty. It is preparing structure. And when movement resumes, it will carry a coherence that could not have formed without this pause. This is not the end of motion. It is the quiet alignment before it accelerates again. An old signal cannot survive without energy. Patterns persist because they are fed. Reactions repeat because they are reinforced. Circumstances loop because the emotional charge sustaining them remains active. But the moment that charge dissolves, the structure begins to weaken. This is the collapse of the old signal. You do not dismantle outdated realities by fighting them. You dismantle them by withdrawing identification. When you no longer emotionally invest in a pattern, when you stop reacting with the same intensity, the energetic current that upheld it fades. Detachment is not indifference. It is neutrality without resistance. When neutrality replaces emotional charge, the field no longer receives instructions to maintain the previous configuration. And without instruction, it cannot justify continuation. Reality mirrors the dominant frequency. If the dominant frequency shifts, the mirror must adjust. This adjustment can look like collapse. Situations that once felt permanent begin to unravel. Relationships shift tone. Opportunities disappear. Habits lose their grip. It may appear as instability from the outside, but internally it feels different. It feels lighter. Because you are no longer holding it together. Outdated patterns require participation. They require your reaction, your fear, your attachment, your identity. Once you stop supplying those elements, the pattern cannot regenerate. It starves. This is why detachment is powerful. When you emotionally detach, you are not suppressing. You are no longer resonating. The frequency that once matched a certain reality no longer exists within you. And without resonance, continuity becomes impossible. External collapse follows internal neutrality. Not as punishment. Not as loss. As recalibration. If you once identified with struggle and no longer do, structures built around struggle begin to dissolve. If you once tolerated misalignment and now feel steady clarity, circumstances that depended on your confusion fall apart. The collapse is not random. It is precise. The field cannot reflect a version of you that no longer exists. There may be moments when you witness this dissolution and feel the impulse to intervene. To repair what is falling. To restore what is shifting. But pause. Ask yourself whether you are acting from alignment or from habit. Habit tries to rebuild the familiar. Alignment allows the obsolete to fade. The collapse of the old signal is a sign of coherence. It proves that your internal state has changed enough to withdraw support from what once seemed immovable. What dissolves now dissolves because you are no longer available to sustain it. This is strength. You are not destroying your life. You are refining it. You are clearing frequencies that no longer match your identity. And as they fall away, space expands. Space for a new signal. Space for a configuration that mirrors who you are becoming rather than who you were. Nothing collapses without reason. It collapses because it is no longer aligned. And once the old signal fades completely, the field becomes clear. Clear for something more coherent to stabilize in its place. Synchronicities are not accidents. They are adjustments. When internal coherence stabilizes, the external structure begins to reorganize with precision. What appears as coincidence is actually alignment becoming visible. The field is recalibrating its architecture to reflect your stabilized state. This is structural reorganization. A conversation happens at the exact moment you were considering change. Information appears just as you are ready to understand it. An opportunity surfaces without force. These are not random gifts. They are evidence that the internal signal has reached a level of clarity strong enough to influence arrangement. Synchronicities are alignment made observable. They do not arrive because you chased them. They arrive because you stopped interfering. When resistance decreases, pathways open. When neutrality replaces attachment, movement becomes efficient. The field begins connecting points that were previously disconnected by doubt. Think of it as a lattice shifting. The structure of your reality contains countless intersections. When your state is scattered, those intersections remain dormant. When your state becomes coherent, specific intersections activate. Events intersect. Timing aligns. Encounters synchronize. This is not magic. It is mathematics of resonance expressed through experience. Synchronicities confirm that you are no longer broadcasting conflicting instructions. They show that your internal orientation has simplified enough for external reality to arrange itself fluidly. The more stable your state, the more seamless the intersections. But there is a subtle danger here. If you begin chasing synchronicities, you fragment the signal again. If you demand constant signs as proof, you reintroduce tension. Synchronicities are byproducts, not goals. They emerge naturally when alignment is consistent. Trust is what sustains them. When you observe a meaningful intersection and respond with calm acknowledgement rather than urgency, you reinforce coherence. You allow the structural adjustment to complete itself. But when you grasp at it, analyze it excessively, or attempt to manufacture more of it, you distort the current. Let them pass through you. Notice. Appreciate. Continue. Each synchronicity is a quiet message, the field is reorganizing successfully. It is evidence that collapse of the old signal created space for new connections. It is proof that neutrality cleared distortion. It is confirmation that alignment does not need force to produce movement. You are witnessing the architecture of reality reshaping itself around your stabilized presence. This strengthens trust. Not blind trust. Observed trust. When you see patterns aligning without strain, you understand that effort was never the catalyst. Coherence was. You realize that unfolding is not chaotic but structured. Not delayed but precisely timed. The more you trust the unfolding, the less you interfere. The less you interfere, the clearer the structure becomes. And the clearer the structure, the more natural synchronicities feel. Eventually they stop surprising you. They become expected. Not because you demand them, but because you recognize that alignment inevitably produces intersection. Reality begins to feel intelligent. Responsive. Alive with coordination. And in that recognition, trust deepens. Because you see that nothing is random. Everything is adjusting. In response to you. There is one final expansion that completes this shift. It is not about improving your reality. It is not about selecting a better timeline. It is about recognizing what you have always been. You are not separate from the field. You are the field experiencing itself. For most of your life, you may have perceived reality as something outside you. A world happening to you. A structure you navigate, influence, or endure. But this perception is partial. It is a useful illusion, yet still an illusion. The observer and the observed are not two. What you call the quantum field is not a distant intelligence responding to your signals. It is the extension of your own consciousness taking form. It moves as you move. It organizes as you organize. It reflects because it is you in another configuration. This dissolves struggle. If you are the field, there is no need to convince it. If you are the field, there is no need to chase it. There is no negotiation between you and reality. There is only coherence within yourself, expressed outwardly as experience. When you feel expansion, the field expands because that feeling is the field expanding. When you feel contraction, the field tightens because that contraction is occurring within the same unified awareness. You are not sending instructions into space. You are modulating your own extension. This recognition changes the orientation of power. Power is no longer something you access. It is something you are. You are consciousness localized into perspective, exploring its own potential through form. Every event, every interaction, every unfolding moment is the field knowing itself through you. There is no separation between your awareness and the structure of reality. The boundary you once assumed existed is conceptual. It dissolves the moment you see clearly. You are not inside the universe. The universe is inside your awareness. And because of that, nothing external needs to shift before you do. When your state changes, the entire experiential structure adjusts because the experiencer and the experienced are the same continuum. This is why recognition creates immediate movement. The moment you realize you are not a fragment within the field but the field focused into identity, the struggle to control fades. There is nothing to dominate. There is nothing to persuade. There is only coherence to embody. And embodiment is effortless when you stop pretending to be separate. The strange sense that something is happening to your quantum field transforms here. It is no longer something happening to you. It is something happening as you. The field moves as your awareness refines. It reorganizes as your identity expands. It stabilizes as your certainty deepens. There is no external force guiding this. There is only consciousness exploring alignment with itself. This realization is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is simple. It feels like remembering something you always knew but temporarily forgot. You are not waiting for the field to respond. You are witnessing yourself respond from a broader perspective. And once this is seen, separation cannot fully return. Only deeper coherence remains. Nothing is about to happen. It is already moving. The shift you sensed at the beginning was not a future event waiting to arrive. It was recognition catching up to movement that had already begun. The internal rearrangement preceded your awareness of it. What you are feeling now is not anticipation. It is confirmation. Vibration shifts first. Form follows. Physical reality is the slowest layer of experience. It is dense. It is structured. It requires time to reorganize because it is the outermost echo of an inner decision. When your state changes, the echo does not appear instantly. There is a delay between signal and reflection. That delay is not absence. It is integration. The strange feeling that something is about to happen is simply your mind noticing internal momentum before external proof validates it. But proof is not the initiator. It is the result. The real event occurred the moment your identity stabilized into coherence. From that moment forward, the structure of your experience began adjusting. You may not see dramatic evidence yet. But subtle shifts are already present. Your perception has softened. Your reactions have slowed. Certain fears no longer feel convincing. Certain desires feel calmer, more grounded. These are not small changes. They are foundational. When the foundation shifts, the structure must eventually follow. The mind often wants visible confirmation. It searches for immediate signs. It tries to measure progress through external movement. But this is where urgency can quietly re-enter. Urgency implies doubt. And doubt fractures stability. There is no need for urgency. If the internal configuration has changed, the external arrangement cannot remain the same indefinitely. It must recalibrate. It has no choice. Reality mirrors state with precision. The movement is already underway because you are no longer who you were at the beginning of this process. You cannot return to that frequency fully. You have seen too clearly. You have recognized too deeply. Recognition locks alignment. This is why calm certainty is more powerful than excitement. Excitement can carry impatience. Certainty carries steadiness. And steadiness sustains the signal long enough for the reflection to form without distortion. Nothing dramatic needs to occur immediately for the shift to be real. The most powerful transformations often unfold quietly. They reorganize relationships gradually. They redirect opportunities subtly. They dissolve outdated paths without spectacle. From the outside, it may appear ordinary. From within, it feels inevitable. You are not waiting for something to start. You are allowing something already started to complete itself. Trust the sequence. Trust that what has shifted within you cannot be undone by lack of immediate proof. Trust that the field reorganizes with exact timing, not rushed timing. Trust that calm presence is enough. Because the event you thought was coming is not approaching. It has already crossed the threshold. And now it is simply unfolding into visibility. Without force. Without urgency. With quiet precision. This was never random. The moment you encountered this message was the pivot point. Not because the words hold power on their own, but because something within you was ready to recognize them. Recognition is activation. And activation does not begin a process. It completes one. The shift happened the instant you saw yourself differently. From the beginning, you sensed that something strange was about to happen to your quantum field. Now you understand that it was never about something happening in the future. It was about something stabilizing in the present. A threshold was crossed internally. A new coherence locked into place. That locking is irreversible. Once you recognize yourself as the field, once you see that reality mirrors your state with precision, once you feel the steadiness of allowing instead of the strain of control, you cannot fully return to unconscious participation. You have seen the mechanism. You have felt the alignment. You have embodied the shift. This was the activation. Not fireworks. Not spectacle. Recognition. You did not force it. You did not chase it. You allowed clarity to surface. And in allowing, you synchronized with a version of yourself that was already prepared to emerge. The strange sensation that began this journey was the signal of integration. Now integration is complete. The field is no longer rearranging in confusion. It is responding to certainty. What sustains this shift is not effort. It is allowing. Allowing the new identity to feel natural. Allowing the external reflection to form without interference. Allowing calm expectancy to replace urgency. When you remain steady, the alignment remains steady. There is nothing more to initiate. There is only embodiment. You may notice that you feel quieter. More grounded. Less reactive to uncertainty. That is not coincidence. It is evidence that the activation settled into your nervous system, into your perception, into your orientation toward experience. You are no longer seeking confirmation. You are operating from recognition. And recognition is self-sustaining. The pivot was subtle. It did not announce itself loudly. It occurred in the space between doubt and certainty, when you chose to see clearly instead of retreating into habit. That choice altered your trajectory. It shifted your internal position within the field. From that position, new reflections are inevitable. Not because you demand them. Because you are aligned with them. This message did not create the change. It revealed it. It acted as a mirror so you could witness your own readiness. The activation was always within you, waiting for acknowledgement. Now it has been acknowledged. Remain steady. Remain present. Remain coherent. The movement continues naturally from here. Subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear it before their timeline closes.